Hi guys and welcome back to Irony Completed. So I'm sorry that I kind of look a bit like crap today, but I'm having one of those days. I woke up in like legitimately the worst mood of my life and I don't know why. But I don't have time to film anything and I need to get a video up by Wednesday and I don't have time to film tomorrow, so I'm sorry if I'm in kind of a mood. I just one of those days, do you know what I mean? Oh yeah, I also got a fringe. It's kind of a fringe, it's like not really a full fringe. Do you like it? I think I like it. I think I look cute. The only makeup I'm wearing as well is lipstick and mascara. And I'm wearing a green lipstick because I can never wear this colour in my real life, but I thought it'd be fun to wear a green lipstick. I think I like it though. I think it looks good. I'm not 100% decided, but I think it looks good. Do you like it? Do you like it? I'm going to be filming for you guys today a book club, my January book club. I read 3 things in January. So the things I read were Mary Barton by Elizabeth Gaskell, and I read this on my Kindle, so I don't have a physical copy of it. Well, I do. I actually do have a physical copy of it, but I left it in my hometown, not my uni town, by accident when I came back from Christmas. I read it on my Kindle. It was free on my Kindle actually. I love the fact that you can get free classics on here. It's really, really helpful. I didn't really enjoy it. It was really depressing and a lot of people die in it. Basically the story is about this girl called Mary Barton, and she's a working class girl who lives in Manchester in the Victorian era. It's written in and set in the Victorian era. And basically her mother dies in like the first chapter or two, and she, you know, has these dreams of becoming rich and she wants to marry this upper middle class guy basically, but this other character who's another working class guy is like in love with her, and it becomes really dramatic because her father hates the bourgeoisie and the upper classes, so it's kind of dramatic. A lot of people die in it. I don't want to spoil the plot. I don't know how to explain it without spoiling it anymore, but I really didn't enjoy it that much. I thought it was really dense and quite boring, and the only things that happened were that a lot of people died, and it got to the point where like a lot of the main characters had died, or they were introducing characters and then they died straight away, and I thought that was kind of stupid, like to introduce a character and then kill him off immediately. I know that's probably because like that was the reality for people in this time period, like I get it, but I didn't enjoy it that much. So, you know, I wouldn't read it again if it weren't, you know, on my course. I also read Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. Charles Dickens is actually probably one of my least favourite authors of all time, but I had read this before, so I kind of reread it for my course. I didn't like fully reread it. I like reread most of it, like the important bits and stuff. It's a really long book, okay, don't judge me. Charles Dickens is definitely one of my least favourite authors of all time, actually, because I think that he's really depressing, and I don't think his symbolism is subtle in the slightest. But I did enjoy it. I actually do like the stories of Charles Dickens books a lot of the time. They're just very dense and very wordy, and I think that's mostly what I dislike. And also he's really not subtle with naming his characters. Like his character names are like really obvious metaphors or like really obvious descriptions of the characters, and that bugs me for some reason. But we did 2 Charles Dickens films and adaptations, and adaptations is a module where you read the book and you watch the movie and then you kind of discuss. And like I said, I like the story, so I did enjoy the film and stuff, but the book isn't something that I would read necessarily for pleasure, just because I don't really like the way it's written. Like the stories are great, they're really interesting. I love stories about like the working class and about like social mobility and about class issues, especially in a time like the Victorian era, which was so fraught with class issues. But I don't particularly enjoy the writing style of any of Charles Dickens' books. Yeah, I did also read another Charles Dickens book, but that I read online on my laptop because they had a transcript of it online. I did also read A Christmas Carol, which is annoying because it's like a month after Christmas, but I did also read that as part of my adaptations course as well, and I enjoyed A Christmas Carol way more than I enjoyed Great Expectations, and as a general rule I do prefer early Charles Dickens stuff to later Charles Dickens stuff, so that's probably why. I would explain the plot of this, but I'm sure you all already know because it's like a classic, and I mean I'm sure a lot of people have read this like at school and stuff, and the same with A Christmas Carol, but yeah, Charles Dickens just isn't an author that I enjoy. And now for a book that I actually did enjoy. This is The Mayor of Casterbridge by Thomas Hardy. I've never read a Tom Hardy book before this, so I was kind of excited and I wasn't let down at all. I actually adored this. I really loved it, which is strange because I generally don't like Victorian literature, she says after taking a Victorian literature module. I really enjoyed this. Basically the plot is a man and a woman appear at a fair. The man gets really drunk and he sells his wife. He sells her to a sailor. And she gets like sick of his shit basically, and she goes off with the sailor and with her and her husband's child. And then 18 years later, or roughly 18 years later, the sailor dies, or she thinks the sailor dies, so being widowed, even though it wasn't a legal marriage, she returns to England to find her husband who sold her at the fair, whose name is Henchard. And she returns and finds him and they remarry for kind of their daughter and for tradition's sake. And Henchard has taken a vow to not drink for 21 years because his shame at what he had done by selling his wife. And basically his past catches up with him. And Newson isn't dead, and Elizabeth Jane, his daughter, is much more complicated than it appears, and his personality is just kind of coming up, bubbling up from the calm surface that he has presented himself, because he essentially worked his way up from this alcoholic to become the Mayor of Casterbridge, hence the title of the book. After the reappearance of his wife and his daughter, the cracks begin to show again, and like I said, his old life kind of catches up with him. I loved this. I loved the writing style. It was a great mix of like dialogue and description. It was not slow in the slightest, which is the problem that I have with a lot of Victorian literature, is I find that it's quite slow. This wasn't slow in the slightest. It had loads and loads of twists and turns in it, and I mean loads of twists and turns. It was absolutely fantastic. And it just had so much going on in this book, and it's, you know, it's only 300 pages, but it had so much going on in it. It was insane, and I really enjoyed it. It's a really interesting story, and I enjoyed it much more than Dickens because it was written in a much more accessible way, in my opinion. It wasn't overly verbose. So I'd definitely be interested in reading some more stuff by Thomas Hardy, and it's something that I would read in a non-academic context as well. So I definitely enjoyed this. And now I will tell you guys the books that I plan on reading in February, or my February TBR list. And if you do not know what TBR stands for, TBR means to be read. So this is basically just a list of books that I am planning on reading in February. And all of these are academic, all of these are for my course. And I think some of these I might kind of like cross over into March as well, I'm not 100% sure. What I'm currently reading is a Daphne du Maurier book. This is Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. We're reading Rebecca, and we're also reading The Birds and watching the Hitchcock adaptations of both of these. I'm super excited to read these because I love The Birds as a film, but I've never read the book before, and I've never seen or read Rebecca. I've never seen the adaptation of it, and I've never read the book. So I'm super excited, especially because this book is just so beautiful. I mean, have you seen it? It's absolutely gorgeous. This is the 1946 post-World War II edition. It's gorgeous. This book is about a young girl who marries a much older man who has recently lost his wife, and it's about her going to live with him in Manderley, their home, and about her experiences there and how she feels like she is living in the shadow of his ex-wife, his dead wife. It's basically about how she feels like she's living in the shadow of her husband's dead wife, Rebecca, and it's interesting because the narrator is never given a name in this, and I'm super excited to both watch and read this story because it's just immediately piqued my interest, and I've only read the first like 6 chapters, but I'm very interested immediately from the setup. It's absolutely beautiful, and likewise I'm super interested in reading The Birds because I think I'm really into Daphne du Maurier's style from the little bit of this that I've read so far, and I absolutely love the Hitchcock version of The Birds. I love Tippi Hedren so much, and I just love the story. It's such a great story, and I'm very interested to see how it was adapted from this, because like I said, I've never read it before, so this is something that's like super interesting to me. I'm also currently reading Villette by Charlotte Bronte, which I'm kind of excited about, kind of not, because it's like the thickest book of all time, I swear to God. All these Victorian books, like, man, people were just writing way too much, in my opinion. Oh, it's like 500 pages. Okay, so I don't really know the story of this. I don't really know the story of this from what I can gather from the blurb. It's basically about a girl who gets a place in a girls' school with people who are much richer than her and much above her station, and she falls in love with a guy called Dr. John, but he is in love with someone else, and it sounds very Bronte-ish. I do like Charlotte Bronte as an author. I actually really enjoyed reading Jane Eyre. I read Jane Eyre when I was like 10 just for the sake of it, because it was a story that interested me, and I really do like these stories about young girls and like love and stuff like that. So I'm super excited to read this, but not so much excited because it's the thickest book ever. But I am looking forward to it because it sounds like a story that would interest me. I just hope the writing isn't too dense. I think I prefer the Bronte sisters to Jane Austen, so I think I'm okay with this. I think I'll be okay with this, I think. And then I'm actually reading 2 more books as well, but I think these might cross over a little bit into March as well, but I'll probably start them in February and we'll see if I actually get around to finishing reading them. I'm also reading Lewis Carroll's Alice's Adventures in the Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. This is for Victorian literature. I'm super excited because I've actually never read this before. I've never read this iconic story, but I've seen like loads of the film versions of it. The Disney one's great, the Tim Burton one's pretty good, and I used to have another like pirated knockoff version that I used to really like when I was a kid on like video cassette. So I am excited to read these because they're another kind of iconic thing that I've just never gotten around to reading, and I think it's about time that I start to try out things that are kind of like classics and iconic but that I've never read before, and I'm very excited to read this. I mean, if you don't know the story of this, then like, who are you? It's so iconic, and I'm very excited to see how it compares. Even though this isn't for my adaptation scores, I'm really excited to see how it compares to the adaptations. And the last book that I'm going to read, rereading rather I should say, is The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Probably one of my favourite books of all time. I absolutely love this book and I've read it maybe 4, 5 or 6 times. I'm kind of obsessed with it. I read it the first time in like a few days because it was just something that I was really excited to read when I first bought this like a few years ago. And I loved it and I've reread it since many times, like I said. So I'm very excited to reread this because it's such a thin book and it's really easy to get through in my opinion, just because it's such a page turner, and I think this is such an iconic book, and I'm really excited to discuss this in relation to the Baz Luhrmann adaptation, which is what we're going to be doing for my adaptations course. So I'm super excited about that just because I love this book, and I'm very excited to be able to like discuss it in an academic sense because I actually never studied this at school. I just read this like off my own back maybe when I was like 16 or 17, so I am very excited to be rereading this. I'm also interested in watching the Mia Farrow version because I've never seen the Mia Farrow version, but that's what's the cover of this book, and I'm kind of interested to see it just so that I can know how it measures up to the other adaptation. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm making any sense. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm sorry again that I'm kind of in a shitty mood, so this might be a really boring video. I really don't know how it's gonna come across, but I just really needed to film for Wednesday and I don't have any time to film tomorrow. And then on Wednesday I'm filming a kind of exciting collaboration video with a brand, so I need to do that on Wednesday. I just wouldn't have time to like film 2 videos, edit and upload all in one day. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm sorry that this video might be kind of a little bit like because I'm feeling kind of but I hope you guys still got a sense of kind of, you know, what I'm excited about reading and the books that I read this month, whether I enjoyed them or not. And keep a lookout for February's book club because I have loads of books to read this month and I'm super excited about most of them, so should be a good book club video next month. Also, it's my birthday in this month. It's my birthday in February. Are you guys excited? I turned 20. Quite scary. Oh well, I'm not that scared, I'm actually really excited. I lie. So please let me know down in the description the books that you read in January and what you thought about them, and also let me know the books that you're planning on reading in February and if there's any releases or new books that you are excited about. If you want to follow me on Twitter, Tumblr or Instagram, they'll all be linked down in the description along with everything that I'm wearing, what's on my face right now. And thank you guys so much for watching, and also thank you for getting me to 3,000 subscribers, which is absolutely insane. I really can't believe it, but I'm really excited about it and excited that my channel seems to be improving. So thank you guys again, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!